I want you guys to stay patient in this video and really analyze exactly what I'm about to explain to you in this video, yeah? I've got to a point where on this game, all it is you play against is 4-5-1, 4-4-1-1, 4-4-2 flat. You don't really see the 4-1-4-1, and if you do, it's very similar to a 4-5-1 in terms of the roles. But this here is going to be very different to anything you've seen on TikTok or YouTube. If you've watched me for a while, you'll understand the principles of positional play in most of my videos I made back in the day, and now we're bringing it in today's game, right? So this formation requires you to pass the ball backwards to go forwards, attracting the pressure from the opposition, and then patience. But let's get into the tactics now, yeah? So we're using false backs. Now I've tried wing backs, but the reason why I don't like wing backs and your fullbacks as the widest players on the wing is because when they have the ball in the final third, 9 times out of 10, they don't have the correct play styles to put the ball in the back of the net. Either lack of finesse shot, low driven plus, or they just have these things base and it's just not good enough. That's really annoying to me. Now that I have the wingers out wide in Hazard and Di Maria, I can trust them in the final third. Not only just that, you can see here there's a box in the midfield now that we've got the left back and the right back inverting. We've got 2 attacking midfielders. They're very important. Not only do they make runs beyond the false 9, but they occupy themselves in the most dangerous zones in football. And it creates a lot of trouble. Okay, and I'm going to show you that. Anyway, starting from the back, we've got 3. Caicedo dropping in between the centre backs to make that 3 at the back, which is very important in build up. And the reason why I've not got the centre backs on wide centre half is because if I was to do that and we lose the ball, Caicedo naturally pushes up into the midfield and there's this massive gap in the centre. So all it takes really is a through ball through the centre. But because I've got the defenders on defend, they're more narrow. So if we lose the ball, they're still compact. We're blocking off the centre. And if there's any danger, it's going to be out wide. Now we're moving on to the attacking midfielders, or the 8s, I should say. I've got them both on attack and attack playmaker. That's very important because you want these guys not only crashing the box, but you want them narrow in the half spaces, which means the opposition shape naturally has to compact because you've got 4 midfielders in there, which means now there's space out wide, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to be playing against a back 4. You're not playing against a back 5. So you've got a 5 versus 4 offensively, which is great. There's always going to be an extra pass that you can play. And because they're so narrow, the 2 number 8s, that means the wingers can receive the ball out wide because the positioning of the number 8s draws the opposing fullback into narrow areas, freeing the wide areas to Di Maria and Hazard. Now you've got João Felix. João Felix is also very important. It's not just a 4 in the midfield as a box. It can turn into a 5. Now, depending on what you're playing against, a 4-4-1-1, that's a 5 versus 2 in the midfield. Now, it's obviously easier said than done. If you actually, you know what, I'm not even going to bother talking about the weaknesses of this formation. If you've got eyes and you've got a good football in mind, I think you'll understand where the weaknesses lie in this formation. But depending on what formation you play, you're always going to have a natural overload in the centre. Whether it's 4-4-1-1, it's going to be a 2 versus 4. If it's a 4-5-1, it'll be 4 versus 3. 4-4-1-1, it might be a 3 versus 4. And even if you're adding João Felix to this as well, that's a 5 right there. Another way as well that I haven't actually got clips of it is your wider centre backs. I think they're probably the most important part of the build up when you're playing against a formation like a 4-5-1. When you've got 3 centre backs against 1 striker, it's easier to get out wide to the centre backs. And then when you do, you drive, and you try and attract one of the centre mids towards the ball, which leaves space in behind that centre mid. And then that's when you start getting the third man combinations in. So yeah, there's ways you can break down these meta formations using these tactics. That's why I like using this formation a lot. There's a lot of patterns of play offensively. There's still, you can get a lot of runners in behind. You can play a tiki-taka football. With a lot of formations, I feel like it's either you create a lot of chances through the wings or you create a lot of chances through the centre. But with this here, there's a balance. If it's not working down the centre, you can go out wide and circulate the ball back into the box for those famous finesse shots across goal. So now we've broke down how this formation works offensively. We're going to break it down defensively. Like I was saying earlier in the video, when we do lose the ball, we can slightly be vulnerable to counter attacks. And that's due to your fullbacks being narrow as their starting position. There's obviously ways you can press with these guys once you lose the ball. You have to be very quick when it comes to the counter press. But if the counter press is not on, I'd advise you to either get Hazard, Di Maria, or one of your fullbacks to cover the ball side wing, because it's just easy through balls with the opposing winger into space, and then you don't really want Hincapie or Gabriel defending the wider spaces. That's when this formation can get tricky. But what I will say is it's not impossible to defend counter-attacks compared to formations I've used previously using false backs or wing backs. Kaiser is also a very important player. My advice is you don't want to be too aggressive with him because you got Morgan Rogers and Paz already very offensive. So when you lose the ball, he's your only player really, other than maybe your inverted fullbacks. But he's the one that's your anchor. You need him to be the sweeper, because once he's out of the midfield, you might as well say you're going to concede a lot of goals, you know. So now we're going to break down the play styles real quick before we end the video. Megan, one of the best goalkeepers on the game. I advise you to get him, but there's better players on the market that can play in that position. But for me, I'll use Megan because I like him in general in real life. So yeah, he fits the team pretty well. So I've got Megan in goal. I've got Gabriel as one of my centre backs alongside Hincapie. I've gone with an Arsenal back line. Very physical. He's more of my destroyer. Hincapie, he covers space really well because he's got that quick step. So for me, I'll try and replicate this because it works really well for me. I don't know who this woman is. I got her, I think, I can't remember where I got her from. I think it was in a pack. She's actually really good. She's got some good play styles. For me, incisive, tiki-taka, intercept, and even quick step is probably the most important for a false back in this game, in my opinion. That's what's working for me. Here in intercept, anticipate, maybe even jockey and quick step. You're going to be covering a lot of space with Caicedo. So quick step would actually be an underrated one, but it's not necessary. Paz, my eights are very physical, okay, because they get the ball a lot in the box, and I use a lot of press proven and enforcer to shield the ball and create an angle for a shot. But yeah, finesse shot or low driven as your plus, or rapid and technical is not really needed as an 8, but it's there if you need it, I guess. But personally, I think incisive plus would have been bang on for Morgan Rogers. Hazard, my wingers, you already know the wingers, they need to be finesse shot, rapid, technical maybe. And obviously, as a false 9, I've gone with finesse shot, incisive. Felix is just a bad boy, man. But yeah, there's no cap, bro, in what I'm talking about. This is my record. I can't remember when I think it was like Friday. I was on like 8, 7-4, 7-5, something like that. I was horrible, man. I was horrible a couple of days back, and I've been using this formation. And I think I've gone 17 wins and 2 losses, which is really good for Elite. I haven't actually played champs in it. I wasn't brave enough to do champs in this formation, but I wish I did. I actually got 13, which is not too bad. For me, I'm a 13, 14 player at the moment. I can get 15, but it's once in a blue moon. Um, but yeah, this formation, if you're looking to score a lot of goals, have control in games, play this formation. It's a very realistic formation as well. A lot of teams use this box theme. Xabi Alonso, Pep Guardiola used it, Enzo Maresca, Arteta. So if you like football, play with this formation. Don't expect results straight away because it can be slightly on the frustrating side when you get countered at times. But in possession, just stay patient, man. Just wait for gaps and yeah, man, just have fun with it. But yeah, I'm out, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe, man. Check out my YouTube and TikTok, man. I'm out. Peace.